And most of y'all know who Stephen Davies is. Okay, Stephen Davies, I was brought into the business by my brother, actually. My brother that was with State Farm actually did this with us for about a year and a half. So I was direct to my brother. My brother was direct to punchable face punk dude with the white shoes. And that dude was direct to Stephen Davies. So when I came into the business, I was 3 in depth from Stephen. I didn't know Stephen very well. I knew who he was. I knew he was the company's youngest millionaire at 25 years old when he started. And I just remember thinking, this dude doesn't know who I am. He doesn't deserve my time. I'm not out working hard. I'm not out trying to earn his time. So I never reached out to Stephen like I should have early on. But 4 months into this business, I sent Stephen an email and I just said, hey dude, it was about Christmas of 2011. I got licensed in September of 2011. About Christmas of 2011, I sent him an email and I said, dude, thinking about going back and getting a job. And this is like my last ditch effort. You have any suggestions, any thoughts, whatever. He emailed me back within 5 minutes and he said, hey, come up to my office. I live about 45 minutes to an hour south of him and Holly, just across the state line there in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. He said, come up to the office tomorrow, bring your activity book. Y'all know what an activity book is? Okay. He said, bring your activity book and let's sit down and talk. And at that point I was like, well, what does it hurt? You know, I'll go meet with him, see what he has to say, and you know, hopefully something big changes my decision. Because I was at a point where I was ready to call my boss back, the one that said, you'll be back. And so I drove up to Asheville, sat down with Stephen in his office, and as nice as he could be, Stephen was encouraging. He poured faith into me when I didn't have it enough in myself. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And he said, hey, let's take a look at your numbers. And we opened up my activity book. And I don't know why up until that point I didn't even think this isn't going to go well. But we opened up my activity book, and there in the activity book, on any given week, it averaged probably 20 to 35 dials, talked to 4 people, booked 2 appointments. The next week I went crazy and ran like 4 appointments. That's a joke, by the way. That's when we talk about numbers, you're gonna see. And he just went through my activity book, and I'm telling you, with the most grace he could say, he said, Hutch, here's the deal. I said, hit me with it. He said, this is your business. You can do whatever the heck you want in your business, as much as you want to work, as little as you want to work. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you have to go out and do this and this and this. But here's what I'm seeing. You're frustrated because you want to make this, but your activity is this right here. So we got to do one of 2 things. We either have to increase your activity to get it to go out and get the results that you want to get. If you want to keep doing this little activity, you can, but we're going to have to lower your expectations. And I felt like I had just got a swift kick in the you-know-what. And I was just like, you're right. You're 100% right. And I drove back down the entire hour drive home, the 2 things dominating my mind where I was like, I'm not going back and getting a job. The 2 things that dominated my mind, one was, you'll be back. I was not going back and asking that guy for a job after that and proving him right. As the rookie electrician for the two and a half years I worked for him, great guy, don't get me wrong, great guy, but he picked on me all the time because I was the rookie electrician, and I tell people that my first day on the job, I was looking, I spent 2.5 hours in the back of the truck looking for the bucket of electricity. I wasn't that dumb, but I was a rookie electrician, so I got picked on a lot. And I just remember thinking, you'll be back. And I was like, I'm not going back. But the bigger thing that kept me from going back and getting that job, Mike, was I could sit here and anybody I talked to, whether they knew me or not, I could tell them, yeah, I tried insurance once. Man, it's tough. Tough. Let me tell you about insurance and working for yourself. It's hard, man. You gotta pay for leads. You got to go and sit with people. You got to try and sell them. You get all these objections, and sometimes the leads are crap. And like, I could make up any BS excuse I wanted to as to why I struggled in insurance for 4 months and then quit. And that's what most agents that quit do. Most agents that quit virtually all agents will turn around and say, yeah, I tried it once. It was tough. It was hard. Or my favorite, insurance, it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. And all those BS excuses going through my mind that I could tell anybody, but you know what? In my heart, in my mind, I knew that I would have to answer to Mark every single night. I put my head on the pillow at night before going back to a job where somebody else was controlling my life and controlling my worth. If I went back to a job and they were controlling my life and my worth, I would be the one putting my head on the pillow at night knowing that I sold myself short, that I did not give myself a fair chance, that I was not working like I should have been, treating it like an opportunity to work and just trying to treat it as a way to make easy money. And those two things are what kept me from quitting the Alliance and going back and getting a job, because if I'd have done that, guess what? People don't try insurance and then go back somewhere else or go to something else and then come back and try insurance again. You want to know why? Because in their mind's already telling them, you tried it once and it didn't work. Don't put yourself through that again. And I knew if I left and quit and went and worked a job again, I would work a job for the rest of my life where somebody else was controlling my time and controlling my value, my worth. And I was just adamant, I'm not doing that. I'm going to sack up. I'm going to own up to my lack of work ethic. I'm going to own up to my laziness, and I'm just going to go to work. Because we have an opportunity. When you have an insurance license, you have an opportunity to print money. That was December of 2011. That first full year of me being in the business, January 2012 to December of 2012, issue paid over $150,000, put 75 grand in my bank account, working about 2.5 days a week, and qualified for the trip to Aruba. And I'm not saying, that's not even one of our major success stories. But the reason I'm telling you that is because I was facing a crossroads where I could go back and get a job that I hated and work for somebody else who was going to essentially own my life for the next 40 years, or I could just own up to the fact that I hadn't given it my all at that point. I've got a good work ethic, but I wasn't showing it in those 4 months. I was running scared. I was lazy. I was making excuses why not to go run more appointments when I should have been. And during that time, I got to a point where I was like, this isn't working. And what I had to own up to the fact was, no, I wasn't working. This business works. This system works. There's ways to improve it. There's ways to get better training. But this system works and this business works. The question isn't, does it work? The question is, will you work? And from 2012 on through the rest of current today, I've been able to, like Mike said, been the #1 producer in the Alliance multiple times. 2019, I hit #1 out of probably 6,000 agents, and they gave me a $25,000 Rolex for being the #1 producer in the company. And I just remember 8 years, 9 years prior, just thinking, man, all these people on stage, getting awards, top producers, just killing it. And I would just be at the back like, I just want to pay my bills and I just want to not struggle. Well, that's where I was. And what I can tell you is there's nothing special about me. In fact, if anything, most of y'all's beautiful faces out here, y'all got a leg up on me. Because when I went and sold insurance, this is what people have to look at for 45 minutes. This is what they have to deal with. Some of us talk slow. Oh, Rachel, it was you that said that. Some of us talk slow because we're from the South. Just because we talk slow don't mean we're stupid. But this is what people had to deal with in trying to sell insurance. All right, so everyone in this room right now has a leg up on me. All right, so you ain't got no more excuses. And when Mike said he wanted to create little mini Marks running around, I was like, oh God, no, please don't create mini Marks running around. Do what I do, don't look like I do, all right? But my point is, guys, this business is simple, and if you will stay consistent with the activity and just plug in, get to the meetings that you can get on the phone calls, ask questions, reach out for help. It's something I was not doing in those first 4 months, and I almost quit. And I thank God every day that I didn't quit, because I got a beautiful family. I've got an incredible lifestyle. And I wake up every morning and I look out. If y'all have not seen my, I know we're not all friends on social media, but this right here was, oh my God, man. Here, pass that around. That's the view I have in the fall time when I'm drinking coffee. We got a house on side of the hill. I'm going to come to that in a minute, because Hindu, the way I got connected with Hindu is a big part of that. But I wake up every morning and I just thank God that I didn't give up. I thank God that He just instilled in me the desire to be successful, the desire to go out and work and accomplish your dreams. I didn't know how to dream. I'm still learning how to dream. I'm learning it's okay to want nice things out of life. It's okay to want to go out and work hard and achieve. It's okay to have that. See, I grew up in a home where it was like, man, if you make a lot of money, your priorities are out of whack. You know, you need to focus on loving God and serving people and not worry about making money. Well, guess what? You can love God and serve people, and when you do that, oftentimes money follows. And it's okay for that to happen. It's not how much you make, it's what do you do with what God has blessed you with. And so every day I wake up and I'm drinking coffee, and that's my view in the fall time during peak season off my back porch, and I just thank God that I didn't quit. I thank God that I just decided to make up my mind and go to work. I just decided to cut out the bullcrap excuses and pick up the damn phone. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just going to work. So all that to say, some people, give you hope or give you inspiration. I'm here to give you hope. If this country boy from North Georgia can go out and be successful and do this thing and help people, every one of you in here can do it. I promise you. You just can't ever give up. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. The system works. Are you willing to work? And I take 45 minutes to go through that so that you can see when you're frustrated, when you're sitting there making your first session of dials or your 10 dial sessions in and you're frustrated and you're like, man, people are hanging up on me. I'm getting objections that I don't know how to overcome. I want to give you hope to know that, hey, this gets better if you will stay consistent with the activity. I saw this the other day, and I've heard it said in 100 different ways, but it's so true, and it applies to every one of us. To be successful at anything, you don't have to be different. You simply have to be what most people aren't: consistent. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And when you're a brand new agent and you're dealing with a bunch of bullcrap and you're frustrated and you're fearful, you're running in fear, you're scared, is this thing going to work? Am I going to get paid? When you're battling all that, just be consistent with the activity, stay plugged in, and just keep doing what the unsuccessful agents are not willing to do. They give in to fear, they give in to bullcrap excuses, they justify why they couldn't hack it or why insurance wasn't for them, and they're the ones that are working those dead-end, deadbeat jobs, frustrated at life. So you have before you an opportunity to go out and be as successful as you want to be. And here at the Alliance, we have the resources to help you do that. The question is what do you want? And are you willing to go out and work for it to get it? So that's my story. That's how I got here with the Alliance. About 2 years in, while I was learning this thing, figuring it out, and after that point, here's the thing. Consistency brings clarity. Consistency brings clarity. When I made up my mind that I was going to stay consistent and go to work every single week, I didn't sit there and struggle, is this something that I'm supposed to do? Is this for me? Is insurance what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life? I didn't have that battle anymore, that internal struggle of, am I still going to be doing this a year from now? Does this thing work? Those questions and thoughts and fears went away because I had made up my mind that I was going to be consistent and I was going to go to work. And when I did that, and the activity stayed consistent with the activity, the money started coming in, the worry started going away, the fear of does this thing work started going away, and I've not battled or struggled with that in 9 years because I know this thing works. What that means is when I go out and have a good week, or like Wednesday, went out and wrote 12 grand on 3 appointments on Wednesday, I don't go back home and think, well, I wrote 12 grand on 3 appointments in one day over 4.5 hours, now I'm going to take 2 weeks off. No, when I get back home, I'm going to spend Sunday with my family, and then Monday I'm picking up the phone. I got a new agent coming to listen to me make dials, and he's direct to me in South Carolina, and he's getting in the car with me on Tuesday and running appointments with me on Tuesday. I'm still going to work even though I've had a good week because I got to stay consistent. The danger, and I'm going to warn you all of this, the danger when you work for yourself and you're in commission-based pay and you go out and kill it in a week and you make good money, the danger is I get to reward myself with 2 to 3 weeks off. I get to reward myself with taking a break. I get to reward myself because I just went out and killed it. Well, you reward yourself with those 2 or 3 weeks off and you don't have any money and commissions coming in the pipeline because you're not out working and running appointments. Guess what? You blow through that money and now you're running scared again and you're feeling the pressure of going out and making sales. And when you do that, people smell your commission breath. They do. They smell your commission breath. They can tell when you're desperate. They can tell when you need to close it. And if you're running 3 appointments in a week and one appointment no-shows you, one appointment tells you, let me think about it, your last appointment that you're running to, your mindset is, I got to close this to make some money. And they can sense that. They can 100% sense that. So when you do the activity, the dialing, the booking appointments, you need to pack your schedule just as full as you can. In these beginning stages, these first few days, months, weeks, years of doing this, you need to pack your schedule as full as you can with as many appointments as you can. The appointments that you run are the classroom to your, and the education to your success. All right, so you're dialing these leads, all right? And we always teach dial 3 times in a row. Dial a number 3 times in a row. Listen, it's extremely important that you keep track of your numbers. Don't sit there and think, well, I'm just going to make a bunch of dials and blah, blah, blah. Why? Because you're going to think you made a lot more than you did. If you'll keep track of your numbers and be real with yourself, that is what we can use to teach how to get better, how to improve your phone work, all right? Think about that. Every time you make I don't have a chalkboard or whatever. Every time, yeah, let me just do this. Let me hobble on back here. All right, so we always say, this is how and it's in your activity book. You got your dials, you have your contacts, and you have your appointments booked. There's 3 columns that you need to keep track of. And every time you make a dial, like you dial the phone number on that lead, that is a dial. And when you hit send and that phone dials out, you put a mark down. If they don't answer that phone, just double check, make sure I dialed the right number. I have a touch of the dyslexia, so I will invert numbers occasionally. And so I always double check, hey, did I invert? If I inverted a number, like it was the lead said the number, the last 4 digits was 5161 and I dialed 5116, that's my error. That's not a valid dial for me because now I'm calling a number that was not given to me. So that's just not a valid dial. That's just me personally. But you dial the number, double check, and if it's the right number, y'all do know that on your phones, I'm pretty sure it works on Android too, iPhones and Android. When you dial a number and then you've got the numbers on your screen that you type in to dial again, if you'll just hit the green button twice, it pops that number up again and calls out. Y'all know that, right? So that way you're not having to type in the same number. Like if I call, all right, Mallory, I don't know you. What's your phone number? 903. Okay, if I dial 903 357 2797. Nope, 2797. Now, from the time you're reading the lead and punching in that number and double checking, that takes 15 seconds, right? So I dial her, all right, and it's calling and it's calling and it's calling, and it goes to voicemail or whatever, right? So it goes to voicemail. Listen to, don't answer. Just let it go. Yeah, hit ignore.
Hi, you've reached Mallory Barnes.
Boom, I'm done. I'm done with that dial. I've listened to what she says. Because, you know, sometimes it says 903, and it's going to sit there and say, you know, leave a voicemail. You know what I'm talking about? Most people do that. Because they don't want to sit there and do a personal voicemail or whatever. So when I dial a number, I am listening to the very first part of that voicemail. If it's an automatic voicemail like 90, I'm immediately stopped. But she says, hey, this is Mallory. And now I know, okay, she goes by Mallory. Obviously, her friends and now, you may have a Theodore Gruber, and you dial him, and you hear Theodore's voicemail, and it says, hey, it's Ted, leave me a message, boom. Well, now when I finally get a hold of that person, guess what I'm calling them?
Ted.
Why?
That's what he wants to be called.
Because it's familiarity. That's what he...
could have said, hi, this is Mal.
Yeah, yeah. I want to know what they know, what their friends and family know them as, the people that are trying to get in touch with them, what they're referred to as. If I don't know, I don't assume. If it just says, hey, 214, whatever, I'm not, next time I get him on the phone, I'm not going to say, hey, Ted. You know, I'm going to be like, Theodore. You know, now he may be like, nobody calls me Theodore, but he knows that whoever's talking to him has a sense of familiarity or somebody that's addressing him in a way that's like they've talked to him before. So I always listen. Now, here's what you do. It was the last number I dialed out, right? So I hit the green button. that number pops back up, and I just confirm real quick, yep, that's the right number, and boom, I'm hitting send again. Hitting green button again, and now it's dialing Mallory again. And I don't have to worry about, let me retype this in. It's just little crap like that just slows you down and gums it up. It's little tips like this that just allow you to go through dial. Well, what happens if she doesn't answer again? I let it ring 4 times. I don't wait for the voicemail again. I already know what her voicemail says. So I let it ring 4 times. If she doesn't answer in those 4 times, I hit red button, and then I hit green button twice again, and now I'm dialing her out again. In literally the span of about 40 seconds, you can have 3 dials. Well, why do you call people 3 times in a row? Because people screen their calls. But a telemarketer or a salesperson will dial, you don't answer, and they go on to the next person. And they're trying to go sell the next person. So they dial 1 time. But if you're dialing 2 times, somebody calls you twice in a row, you're like, maybe they didn't butt dial. What's this? I'm not going to worry about it. 3 times in a row, who the heck's trying to get in touch with me? And they're answering the phone. You'd be surprised at the number of people that answer on the 2nd or 3rd try. Dial 3 times in a row, and I just showed you how you can do that in about 30 seconds. So when you're dialing and you've done your first dial and they didn't answer and you hit green button twice again, that's another dial. And they don't answer and you hit it again, that's another dial. Okay? Am I done calling them for the week? No. You're going to call them once you go through your leads. You're going to get back to that one on the bottom of the stack that now is at the top of the stack, and you're dialing it again. Well, I just dialed them 30 minutes ago. Right. Did you get in touch with them? No. Okay, dial them again. Why? Because you got to get resolution on the lead. Well, what if they think, I don't know, but dial them again. Well, what if they get mad at you? Dial them again. Call them and get, the purpose of the phone call is to get resolution on the lead. If you don't get them at that point, then dial them again when it comes back through the stack of leads again. Dial them again in the afternoon. Why? Well, maybe they were sleeping in the morning because they just got off a 3rd shift job, and now you're calling them back again mid-afternoon, and it's like they're awake and about, and they saw they got 4 missed calls from you, and now they see you dialing again. They're thinking someone's trying to get in touch with me. Is that making sense? You dial till they answer. Now, don't dial like 15 times in a row, but, dial till they answer. I don't know, maybe try it. If they didn't answer the first 3 times, keep going till keep dialing. Keep dialing. Keep trying to get in touch with them. Dial them in the morning. Dial them in the afternoon. Dial them in the evening, okay? They didn't answer on Monday. I ran appointments all day Tuesday or Tuesday, Wednesday. Call them again on Wednesday or Thursday and try and book them for later in the week. Well, why? Because they need life insurance, because they asked for it, and you need money. So it's a win-win. But I'm just so worried. Stop overthinking. Stop overanalyzing. Stop being paralysis of analysis and just, well, what if I were... Maybe you think like a lot of people. Maybe you don't. Don't assert that somebody else is thinking the way you're thinking, right? Just because you might not answer the phone doesn't mean that other people don't. Did you send a lead in for insurance? No, I never have. They did. They don't think like you. Call them. So you make your dials, and literally it's like, all right, now here's the hard part, okay? When you make that 4th dial and you go and hit the green button again, I want everybody to be crystal clear on this. You start here at the top and you do a stroke down like that. That's 5 dials. It's easier to count that way. And I go left to right, top to bottom, northwest to southeast, because the more you do it, the easier it gets, and you're just sliding down into money. None of y'all are writing that down. I'm really pissed right now. None of y'all are writing that down. I don't care how you do it. Just keep track of your dials. All right? You got to be real with yourself. Well, what happens if you dial the right number and it goes to a fax machine? Okay, it's a dial. It was the number that was listed on the lead. And I'll just tell you, obviously these leads with the final expense, they just got one place for a number. But the mortgage leads, I don't know what they look like here in Texas, but in South Carolina, the mortgage leads, it gave an option for a house phone, a work phone, and a cell phone. And I'm calling the cell phone first, that's 3 dials. They don't answer, I'm calling the home phone, that's 3 dials. They don't answer, I'm calling the work phone, that's 3 dials. If they put the number down, call it. Well, I don't want to bother them at work. Well, then they wouldn't have put the number down. What do you do if they say they're at work and can't talk right now? They answered the phone. They can talk for 22 seconds. Book the appointment in that 22 seconds and get off the phone and then go see them after work tomorrow night. So you're making your dials. A brand new agent with us, minimum ought to be making at least 250 dials a week to get roughly 10 appointments. You want to get 15 to 20 appointments, you need to be making 400 to 500 dials a week. I didn't say 400 to 500 numbers, I said dials. So when you dial a phone number 3 times and they don't answer, that's 3 dials. But you've got to keep track of your dials, because I can coach and teach and train on how to get better and see where you're struggling if you're being fair. But if you're just sitting there, well, I got these leads, I don't need to keep track of numbers, I just need to go to work and make dials, and you're making all these dials, what you think is a bunch of dials, and in reality, you've only made about 17 dials, but you don't know because it feels to you like 17,000 because you're getting beat up and people are saying no, but you didn't factor in the fact that you went and washed the dishes after you made 3 dials and nobody answered, and then you walk the dog, and 4 hours later you feel like you've been dialing the whole time, but you made 10 dials or 17 dials. I'm not picking on him, it's just, I get it. That's exactly what I did, and that's why I was frustrated.
What's the number?
What was the ratio again? 250 dials to 10?
For 10, yeah, to book 10 appointments in a week, a brand new agent should be making a minimum of 250 dials. If you do what I'm telling you and the way I'm telling you, green button twice, listen to the voicemail, okay, then the next 2 times I dial, let it ring 4 times, didn't answer, dial again, ring. If you are staying focused and diligent and getting your dials done and booking your appointments and you're not distracted, you can make 250 dials in about 5 to 6 hours. In 5 to 6 hours, you can make 250 dials. Now, if you make 250 dials and you only have 2 appointments, what does that mean? Keep dialing. But he said 250 should get me, yeah. If you're an average agent brand new with us, it just means you suck even worse than the average agent, so keep dialing. 250 is the minimum. It's the threshold. It's the standard of, hey, don't complain about not booking appointments if you can't even sit down for 5 or 6 hours and dial. Because if you were in a call center and they said, hey, you have 8 hours today, you need to make 250 dials today. If you don't make 250 dials, your bonus, you're not getting a bonus at the end of the week, you're just getting the base hourly rate or salary, you would make 250 dials. You would do it for somebody else, why won't you do it for yourself? So you're making your dials, boom. Talking to more, or making more phone, all right, one more time. Northwest, southeast, slide into money. Okay, I don't care what you do, just keep track of your dials and be real with it, okay? A contact is somebody, this is the hardest part about making dials, knowing which way to do the 5th stroke. The contacts are people that actually filled out the request, that have actually signed their name on it. It's not the spouse, it's not the daughter, it's not the dog, it's the person that you talked to that actually filled the form out. Don't try and book the appointment with the spouse. If the spouse answers the phone, you're trying to talk to Stacy and Clifford answered the phone. Don't try and book it with Clifford. You need to talk to Stacy. Why? Because Clifford didn't fill out the form, Stacy did. Clifford might think we're okay, we're good, and if you try and book the appointment with him, he's going to tell you that, right? So I'm not sitting there trying to talk to Clifford and book an appointment for him and Stacy. I'm trying to talk to Stacy and book the appointment with her and Clifford. So a contact is not just somebody you talk to that answered the phone. The contact is somebody that you talk to that actually filled the form out and you're booking the appointment with them. And here in a second, we're going to talk about some of the most common objections on the phone. But once you book the appointment, then boom, you put a stroke in that column. Am I clear? Simple. Stay focused, get your dials done, all right? I made a little, there's so many different things you can do with it if you need like a little mental exercise. You can do like, hey, let me get more, let's see if I can get to 10 no's first or 10 appointments first. And keep track of your no's, keep track of your appointments. And just make a little game of yourself. Can I get 10 appointments first or get 10 no's first? Shoot, I got 10 no's first, I only have 3 appointments. Cool, keep dialing. If you get to 10 no's first, then keep dialing until you get to your 10 yeses, your 10 appointments. One thing I do, like I said, I dial on Monday afternoons. for me, I wouldn't call it a game, but for me, it was a mental, hey, let me sit down, let me get my dials done, and when I'm done dialing and I've got my appointments booked for tomorrow or tomorrow and Wednesday, sometimes I'll get on this in a second, run 2 days back to back if you can, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'd book my appointments for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then when I was done with my dials on Monday afternoon and I had my 2 days booked, there wasn't a better feeling than knowing, put the pen down, put the phone down, and now I get to go be with my wife and my family. We're gonna grill out burgers, or we're gonna grill out steaks for Monday night dinner. I'm gonna be able to I've done my dials, I did what I said I was gonna do, I stuck to my schedule, and now for the next 2 days, I have 15 to 18 appointments booked. I'm gonna make some sales. We making money, honey. You know, I've got my 2 days booked out, and now I can enjoy the rest of my Monday evening versus, oh, you said you were gonna dial on Monday, you said you were gonna run appointments Tuesday, Wednesday, and now Monday evening, 6 o'clock rolls around, you made 14 dials, you've got one iffy scheduled appointment for tomorrow, and now whose week's looking a lot more bleak than mine is? Do what you said you were gonna do, get it booked, and then reward yourself when it's done. So when I would start my dials when I was brand new, I was dialing in the mornings on Mondays as well. But when I would do my dials on Monday morning, Monday afternoon, I don't care if it took me till 6 o'clock in the evening to finish booking them, I did it until I had a book. Some Mondays I got done at 2:30. Well, guess who got to spend a lot more time doing what I wanted to do, you know, whether I was still single at the time or whether it's been since I got married and have a family. I got to enjoy the rest of my Monday afternoon, evening because I knew that I was committed to what I said I was going to do, and I did what I told myself what I was going to do. But when you sit there and tell yourself you're going to do this and you don't, not only is your week not booked out, not only are you stressing because you don't have appointments for tomorrow, but there's the psychology of I can't even follow through with what I told myself I was going to do. And that's where a lot of the fear, a lot of the anxiousness, a lot of the self-doubt, a lot of am I capable of doing this starts coming into your mindset, and you have to battle that because you didn't do something as simple as dialing and booking appointments like you told yourself you were going to do. This right here is 10% of what we do. Getting in the car and running appointments of 10% of what we do. The battle, the majority of this business is here in the 8 inches between your ears. Am I going to do what I said I was going to do? And when you don't, you're taking steps back and setting yourself back. Now you've got more hurdles to overcome of, I don't even know if I can do this business because I can't even make freaking dials, much less get somebody on the phone, much less go make a sale because I'm having a hard enough time sitting there following through with dialing like I said I was going to. And that's why you just have to make up your mind, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. There may be some weeks where I shoot myself in the foot and I don't dial like I should have. Well, what are you going to do about it? You going to sit there and cry in your milk and roll over and pee on yourself and quit? Or are you going to get up and say, God dang it, I said I was going to do it, I didn't do it, I'm not going to let myself do that again. It sucks sitting around on a Monday evening frustrated that my week's not shaped up, and all I had to do was sit there and frickin' do what I told myself I was going to do. That's where I was 4 months into this business. That's exactly where I was at. It was either sack up and do what I said I was going to do and own up to my lack of work ethic and my lack of activity, or sit there and go work for somebody else and tell everybody insurance is hard, it's tough, I couldn't do it, I couldn't hack it, it's just not for me. But deep down, guess who had that? It would have that internal battle for the rest of his life that he gave up on himself. And I refused to let that happen. And now I've got a wife and two baby precious daughters that I refuse to let that happen. I will fight like hell and go work for them. If I'm not going to do it for myself, I'm going to do it for them. So if you have a family and you're brand new to this and you think, man, there's times where I've given up on myself, fine, go to work for your family. You want them to sit there and struggle because you wouldn't do what you told yourself you were going to do with something as simple as picking up the frickin' phone and making some dials? Don't give up on your family. If you're going to give up on yourself, don't give up on your family. Go to work for them. But I'm just telling you guys, like, your life will change. And I love what Nick's going to share here later this afternoon, and just in the few short months he's been with us, how his life has changed. You think he ever sat down and didn't want to make dials? I'm telling you, you're not alone. We've all been there. Mark is not God's gift to insurance. God didn't sit there and say, Tom Brady, talented athlete, quarterback, Super Bowl, greatest athlete ever, or greatest quarterback ever. You know, Barack Obama, gonna lead the country, be the first black man to ever lead the United States, blah, blah, blah. Here's what his allocation in life. Mark Hutcheson, hey, nah, not good looking, let's not give him that. Not very talented. Oh, insurance, greatest insurance salesperson ever. Dump a lot of that shit in there like Mark Hutcheson. And I'm just honored to be able to stand before y'all today. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. I just had to sack up and go to work and not give up on myself. And I'm just telling you guys, like, you're not alone. I know the struggle. I've been there. And the difference between you being successful in insurance or you being unsuccessful or what you deem unsuccessful and going and working for somebody else is, are you going to be consistent and just go to work? Are you going to be consistent and plug into these opportunities that we have available to learn and get better? I'm telling you, it gets better. The light is there. Your tunnel might be a little bit longer than some people's, but I'm telling you, it gets better if you stay consistent and just don't give up, okay? So why do we keep track of dials? I hope this is helpful, guys. I really do, because I want y'all to know, like, I go through the same shit that y'all go through. I do. It's frustrating. It's nerve-wracking. There have been times where, let me say it this way. So I do my dials on Mondays, right? When I first started, I was dialing on Monday. I ran Tuesday, Wednesday. Here's another thing I did several times that I would encourage y'all to. If you dial on Saturdays and Sunday afternoons, I know a lot of people still go to church on Sunday mornings in the Deep South, like you don't call people on Sunday mornings. You dial on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons, and you book Monday, Tuesday slam full. People are home on Saturdays. A lot of them don't have their jobs on Saturdays. They're answering their phone more on Saturdays. Reverse that and dial on Thursday, Friday, and go run on Saturdays and Sunday afternoons. Why? Because people are home. Well, what's the best one? They're all good. They're all good. Just for me personally, I liked dialing on Mondays, getting my appointments booked for Tuesday, Wednesday, running my 15 to 18 appointments in 2 full days, and going out and killing it at the beginning of the week. And then I had the rest of my week and the weekend to do some recruiting, relax a little bit, and get all the stress and pressure of running appointments out of the way at the beginning of the week. There's nothing worse than thinking, well, that's what I'm going to do, Mike. And then by Wednesday, I haven't run any appointments because I've given up on myself. And now I've either got to go crazy the rest of the week, or I live in fear the rest of the week while I wait until the beginning of the week rolls around when I might do what I said I was going to do. It's an awful feeling. And if you've been working with us for any amount of time, I know you can relate and deal with some of that. And that's where I'm saying, like, it does get better if you just make up your mind, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And I'm going to ask for help, and I'm going to have somebody keep me accountable. And when I say I'm going to call you after my dials and give you my results, call after the dials and give me the results. Well, what if they're not what I wanted them to be? Call after the dial and give me the results. Why? Because if you know you have to do that, and you know that you don't want to disappoint, you may not worry about disappointing yourself, but you won't want to disappoint Nick or disappoint me. Like, people will do things for other people that they're not willing to do for themselves. So if we're holding you accountable and saying, hey, go do your dials and then call me afterwards, call me by 7 o'clock tonight and tell me what your results are, you don't want to disappoint me. You're more likely to go make your dials and try, and whether your numbers are good or bad, you know I've got to do some dials because I've got to call him tonight and tell him what my results are, and I don't want to disappoint him, or I don't want him to think that I'm not willing to do what I said I was going to do. It's called accountability. And a lot of times that will help an agent go out and make their dials. They won't be accountable to themselves. They'll do it because they know they have to be accountable to somebody else. And here's what happens. When you don't do that, when you say, I'm going to call you and I'm going to update you with my numbers, and you don't dial, and now you're afraid to call me or Nick or whoever because you didn't do your dials and you're afraid that you're going to disappoint us, so it's easier to just avoid us. And you don't want to talk to us, and then it's like, last week I told him I was going to do that, I didn't do it, I haven't responded back to his text message, now he probably thinks I'm an idiot, now he probably doesn't like me, I'm not mad at you. You not making your dials doesn't affect me and my family. I hate it for you, but I'm not mad at you. And when you don't do what you said you were going to do, and now there's other people involved that you were supposed to be accountable to, and you're not accountable to them because you're avoiding them, seriously, what do you think is going to change for you to be like, all right, let's get this back on track, and here's what I'm really, no, you're going to avoid, and this job opportunity across town came up. I'm going to go check it out. I got to get money coming in. I'll deal with Mark or Nick later. Like, I just, you feel awful, but you got to go to work and pay your bills. All that could have been avoided if you'd have just said, Stacy, hey girl, what's up? It all could have been avoided if you just sit down and do what you said you were going to do. And if you'll do that, I'm telling you, your life will change. It 100% will change. So when we keep track of numbers, hang on, let's see if I can do this. Got it. Oh, we're good. When you'll keep track of your numbers, let's say, I'm not going to draw them all out, but let's say you've made 175 dials, okay? And let's say you haven't talked to a single person and you haven't booked appointments. If you're being real and keeping track of that, what do you think my next question's going to be?
When you calling?
When the hell are you making dials? Don't cheapskate yourself and dial between 1 and 4 when you know people aren't going to answer, but you can at least tell me you made 175 dials. Well, I'm afraid of people, what are they going to say when they answer the phone? Well, usually they say hello. Stop analyzing. Make your dials. But if you're making 175 dials and you're talking to 24 people and you got a big goose egg in the appointment column, guess what my comment or question is going to be at that point? What the hell are you saying to people? You're scaring them off. Do you sound like Darth Vader? Do you sound like their ex? What are you saying to people? How are you, But guess what? I can coach that. I can teach that. I can train on that. But if you say, oh man, I got busy dialing, dude, I burned the phones up. So I didn't really keep track of my numbers, man. It was just crazy, dude. I didn't even have time to write them down. I was just dialing. It's been crazy. Cool. Well, ballpark, oh man, dude, it's a bunch. I don't know. If I can't see you made 17 dials and didn't talk to anybody and didn't book any appointments, what I can say is, okay, cool, here's what I need you to do. Do another dial session. And when you do another dial session, now keep track of your numbers. Because if you'll do this consistently, then I can realize where you're struggling and I can know how to coach, but you got to be real with yourself and you got to be real with me. So that's why we say keep track of your dials. When you get to where you're making, like my activity book now is I will keep track of my numbers just so I can show people, hey, this is how it gets better. But more so my activity book is just to make sure I've got a visual of what time my appointments are and who it's with. And I've got my leads lined up in that order, and we'll talk about that on the in-home here. I've got my leads lined up in the order of the appointments that I'm running those next 2 days. But your activity needs to be slam full with these tick marks. If you're not booking 15 to 20 appointments over a 2-day period, 2 to 3 day period in a week, then your activity book needs to be slammed full of those tick marks every single day. Because one of the reasons, and I alluded to it briefly this morning, one of the reasons why I almost quit and almost gave up is because this is what my activity would look like on a given week. I'd have anywhere from 15 to 45 dials, talk to maybe 6 to 10 people, and had anywhere from 2 to 5 appointments booked. If you think you're full-time with us, those are crappy numbers. And you're going to get crappy results like I did. But what I would do was when I had those 2, 3, 4 appointments booked, I would be like, well, let me go see how these go. And my mindset was, man, if I make enough sales to pay my bills this week, then I'm good till next week. And when I would go run those 2 to 3 appointments and I got a no-show, a let me think about it, and then a commission breath one that they smelled, and I didn't make any sales, when I should have been on the phone the very next day or that afternoon after my last appointment, booking appointments for the next day, my mindset was, I'll just hit it hard next week. I'll just hit it hard next week. And I kid you not, I would be sitting in church on Sunday mornings, and I was so stressed and so worried and so nervous, is this thing going to work or not, that I couldn't even pay attention to what was being taught in church because all I could think about was, In about 24 hours, I got to start dialing. And I hate dialing. Back then, I hated it. Now it's just my least favorite part. And that was my mentality on Sunday in church and worship, and that's all I could worry about. I stressed myself out because I wasn't going to work. I wasn't picking up the phone and making the dials. I wasn't booking the appointments that, hey, Kat, how are you? Congratulations on all your recent accomplishments. Good to see you. I wasn't making the dials that I needed to get the results that I wanted, and I was stressed week to week, like I just got to pay bills, And I lasted longer than most people. Like I said, I stretched that out over about 4 months. But I'm just telling you, like, it's not a place you want to be in. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know it's not a place you want to be in. So what's the alternative? You say, Mark, you're beating this thing into the ground. Right. Because that's the answer. That's it. Don't quit. Go to work. Treat it like a job. And if you're going to sell yourself short, fine, but don't sell your freaking family short. Find what it takes and put it in front of you that's going to make you go to work so that you'll pick up the phone and make the dials. And every single person that started to be successful with us and had good success with us will tell you they've been there, they've struggled with that. Nick and I have talked about that before. It's like, dude, it's nothing new to you. Now, fortunately, in Nick's case, Nick's not one to sit around too long trying to figure out if he's going to make his dials. He realizes this is what I got to do, and he goes to work, and guess what? He's one of the quickest growing people with our whole entire organization because of these basic principles of just going to work. Yeah.
So I'll tell you guys like exactly what he's talking about. You just have to be a dog on the phone. You just have to, if you don't do it, it'll jack up your whole week. And so I did exactly what he told me to do, and I started tracking my numbers. And early on, I was not having as many. My numbers looked like his crappy numbers. And then I had a conversation with Mark. He's like, "Hey, just go do 20 appointments a week." And when I held myself to actually booking the 20 appointments, and it was a pain. Like you have that little mental battle where it's like, I've got 7 appointments tomorrow, or I've got 5 appointments tomorrow. I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm all right. Let me go run those appointments and whatever. But when I committed to actually like, hey, I'm gonna go run 20 appointments a week, and I'll just do whatever I need to do to run the 20 appointments a week. Like I was making probably double the dials I was making before, if not more. And it's that little, like that's it. It's that little mental battle of like, do I keep calling? It's already 7 o'clock. My wife's calling me. I should get home. Hey, when do you be home? I'm like, well, I've got 6 tomorrow. Am I good with 6? It's like that push from only having 6 appointments to having 8 appointments. Like that is like where all the difference is made, and it's all just a mental thing. And I had, at the very beginning, I had 40 leads that I started out with, and just like he's saying, I call them in the morning, because I have some people that are like, I got through my leads. Well, how many appointments? I got 2. Like, then you didn't get through them, like maybe you called them. But, like I had 40 leads to start out, and I called those people the morning, the afternoon, the evening. I go run appointments on Tuesday, and then I call them again on Wednesday. Like they probably, I felt like a stalker, but like I needed to make money, so I was just like, I gotta do what I gotta do. And it's all just a mental thing of like, you just gotta freaking call these people.
Yeah.
You just gotta be a bulldog and just hit the green button, and just keep hitting the green button.
Dude, when I say it's mental, it's exactly what he's talking about. The 2 things. One, you would be surprised at the results that you get when you push through that mental block. Mm-hmm. Like when he said, well, I've got 7 appointments, it's 3 more than I had last week, it's got to be a better week than last week.
But I told myself I was going to book 20 appointments. It's like, so what, you keep dying. When you push through that mental block, you'd be surprised at the number of results that start to come in. It's just the psychology of it, the way the laws of the universe work, ultimately the way God designed it. Like when you're willing to stay accountable to what you said you were going to do, and you push through when everything else is screaming, no, stop, you're good for now, all these excuses are coming at you, you'd be surprised at the number of results that come past that. Most people won't ever see that because they won't push through that mental roadblock. It's exactly right. It's like this, y'all have probably seen this illustration before, or this drawing if you're done any self-development or self-help books. But it's like, here's what people think. People think that, sorry, I'm running out of options here, Rachel. I'll use the blue one.
You need a black one?
Do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what people want. They want success, right? Here's where you're at. And the false mentality is, well, here's my two options. I got success or failure. Which one do you want? Duh. I want success. So I got to work towards success. If I work towards success, the further it moves me away from failure. Well, dialing's going to get me successful. Running appointments is going to get me successful. Yes, it will, if you don't give up. But here's what it really is. This is reality. To get to success, you have to go through failure. And guess what? People get beat up on the phone. They got a spouse that tells them they don't know why they quit their job because this isn't going to work. And when you don't start seeing results quickly, that spouse starts using that as ammo and leverage against you to discredit you and tell you you shouldn't have quit your job. And you start running into this massive wall or obstacle of failure. But in your mindset, hold up, success is here, failure is here. I'm going the wrong way because I'm going towards failure. I got to get away from failure. And what do? You run from failure. And when you run from failure, you run further away from success. The only way to get to success is to run the frick right through failure. And as fast as you frickin' can.